Hello, and welcome to the Maps Basic webinar. In this webinar, we'll cover the three need-to-know modules of the FlexMLS maps. The first being Full Search Map tab, the second being Search Results Screen Map tab, and the last being Edit Search Map Search. So let's get started. Before we get started though, I just want to switch tabs here and show you all the information that I'll be going over. We do have documentation located. If you want to print out a paper copy, come to the site www.mlswis.com. You'll see the skyline of downtown Milwaukee here. Look in the left-hand side underneath the MLS site navigation box. You'll see this link here, Support. When you left-click on Support, that'll open up sublinks. Click on FlexMLS Manuals, and this will take you to all of our PDF guides. The ones that will apply to today's webinar, I'll be scrolling down, and they're in alphabetical order, are the ones that's preceded by the words Map Server. We'll cover Map Server Full Search Map tab, Search Results Map tab, and Edit Search Map Search. So you know where those are. You just click on the links and it'll open up the PDF guide for you, for your review. So I'm going to switch back here to my FlexMLS tab, so I'm logged in. So the first module that we will cover will be the Full Search Map tab. So we will be searching in several different ways for map areas. So whenever you'd like to search for properties, we'll start off here with a full search. You enter in your parameters as you normally would. So I'm going to search the Metro MLS. If you were searching any MLS listings outside of our metro areas, for example, South Central or Northeast MLS, you can choose the WireX option. I'll choose my property type. I'll leave that as single family. Then I'll come over here and I'll choose my statuses. In this example that we're doing today that I'm going to show you, I'm going to do active, pending, and sold. Okay? And I'll click Next. Of course, you'd enter in what it was that you want to look for. Okay, once we're into the main screen, the full search tabs here, you see your tabs at the top, carried over my statuses and my property type there. I'm going to enter in at least my county here, so we'll make that Milwaukee. I'm going to leave the municipality open. The reason why I'm doing this is this sample, the example that I'm going to show you, is going to cover a few different municipalities. The address that I'll be searching in radius of is on the boundary of another county and several different municipalities. But again, when you're doing your search, you enter in exactly what it is that you want to search on. So if you need to stay within the constraints of a particular municipality or municipalities, make sure you select those. Okay, I'm going to leave the list price and sold price open, and I'm going to go in and enter in my bedroom requirement. So that's a minimum of 3, maximum of 4. Enter in my bathroom requirements, and I'll enter that as 2.5 baths, and enter in my garage requirements. It's also 2.5. Okay, I've entered in everything that I wanted to enter in here. So next I'm going to go to my Dates tab because I need to limit my sold date range. So I'm going to go to the Dates tab. Okay, and you can search on your sold date range in whichever matter that you wish. If you want to search between a specific date range, like from May 1st of 2013 to April 30th of 2014 or 2013, it's totally up to you. Okay, I'm going to go back 10 months on my sold. So how I'm going to do that is I'm just going to click this little double arrow here, make it easy on myself, change days to months. You can also change that to years too if you like to. And then I'm just going to type in the number 10. That way I don't have to kind of figure out, count on my fingers back, oh, what's 10 months from today's date? I can just say 10 months back. And this will search 10 months back from the day's date that you're searching on. Okay? All right, so you see here my results so far. I've got 759 based upon what I've entered here. All right, so now I'm ready to do my map search, so I'm going to go to the Full Search Map tab, and that's that tab located here. So I'm going to left click on it. Before I show you how to use the tools on the Full Search Map tab, I'm just going to highlight how to navigate the map and what are the tools and their locations and what they do. So first, you definitely want to know how to navigate your map. And when I say navigate, I mean adjust your map, move it around. There's several different ways that you can do that. So if you need to move your map in any direction, north, south, east, or west, you can either hold your left mouse button down on the map and just kind of drag it where you need it to go, like I'm doing here. Another way to move your map in a direction is to use these pan arrows that you see here. So clicking the up arrow takes me north. Clicking the right arrow takes me east. The south arrow takes me south. And the left arrow takes me out west. Another way that you can move the map is using the arrow key on your keyboard. So if I tap the up arrow key, again, that moves me north. The right arrow key moves me east. The down arrow key moves me south. And the left arrow key moves me west. That comes in really handy if you happen to be drawing a shape on the map and you run out of room, so it won't let you pull the shape outside of the area that's not viewable. Tapping on those arrows on your keyboard will scooch the map over where you can draw your shape over. Scooch is a word. Look it up in the dictionary. All right, so that's the panning the map. How to zoom in and out on the map. Several ways to do that. You can either double left click your mouse on top of the map. That will zoom you in. If you have a mouse that has the scroll wheel, you can push that scroll wheel forward. That's another way to zoom in. To zoom out, you can pull that scroll wheel back. So me just pulling it out one click, you'll feel it click under your finger, is one level up or one level down. You can also use the zoom bar that's over here on the left-hand side of the map. So plus sign will zoom you in, that's one click. Minus sign will zoom you out. So whichever way is comfortable for you, definitely use that way. Here you have your search areas box. This is your toolbox that contains your shape tools. So clicking on this new search area button will display the tools within that toolbox. The square will allow you to define squares or rectangle search areas on the map. The circle will allow you to define a circular or radius area on the map. And then the irregular polygon will allow you to draw over areas that don't have straight lines or a circle won't fit. So if you need to follow the curve of a railroad or a river or a highway, this is what you'd like to use. I'm going to click cancel on this because we're going to come back to that later. Moving over, you have these buttons at the upper right-hand corner of your map. The darken button, which is the map button, this is the default button. That button will always be darkened when you first come into the map. That shows you the rendering of the map that you see here. Satellite, if I left click on satellite, that'll display a satellite version of the map. So you get a little bit more detail here so you can see the highway markings and numbers. The lower you zoom down, the more detail you get. So notice I just zoomed down a little bit. We can see that the Milwaukee County Zoo is in this area. I'll zoom down a little bit more. There's a Milwaukee County Park that's right here. There's the medical college there. And if you move it over, we'll zoom down right here. I believe that is the racetrack down there. Yep, that's the Fair Park, State Fair Park. So as you can see, you'll see the tags as you go lower. So you'll get more detail the lower you go into your map. And I'll show you the same view with the regular map rendering. That's what it looks like right there. All right, next is our overlays button. Overlays contain some predetermined overlays that you can use that come along with your Flex account. And I'll show you a few here. So when I click on overlays, you'll see that it's got the check for drawn shapes by default. That means whatever shape that you draw on the map using the search areas box will be visible. You'll see the shape drawn. If you ever need to hide those shapes, maybe to get it out your way so you can see something underneath, you might not be able to see it clearly, you can just deselect the check that's here. Next, we have the acres overlay. So I'm going to show you how that one works. So this one is not available in all areas. I'm going to zoom down. You want to zoom down to where you can see the lot lines and the parcel numbers, which is the addresses on the parcel. Okay, so we'll go to overlays, and then we'll click on the acres overlay. Now it looks like we might be in West Allis, so I'm going to move over to Milwaukee because I know Milwaukee is an area that shows the acres. There we go. All right, so when you click on that acres overlay, it will show you the acreage of the parcels that you see here, and this is coming from public records from that municipality. Again, this is not available for all areas, so sometimes you don't know what area it is. Just definitely turn it on and see if it's available for your area. All right, I'll go here and I'll turn that off by deselecting it. Okay, I'm going to zoom up a little bit here. All righty, next, Community Maponics, don't worry about it. That's a function that's really not has been used or built up for use. But I'll show you the counties overlay. So when I turn on the counties overlay, you notice that my screen darkened. This will show you the county borders. So as I come up a little bit higher, you can see there's Jefferson, Walworth, Waukesha, Milwaukee, Racine, and Kenosha, Dodge, Washington, Ozaukee. All right, so that's our counties overlay, and I'll go turn that one off. We'll come back to imagery parcels a little bit later. Next, I'll show you the neighborhood maponics. Now, this is not available in all areas. It's mostly available in the city of Milwaukee. So when I turn it on, you'll see, and I'll get down a little bit lower, how it darkens these squares. This is for if you want to search popular neighborhood areas. For example, in the Milwaukee area, Bayview is a popular area that people like to search in. River West, Brewers Hill, Washington Park, Deneen Park area. So you can see your neighborhood areas here. All right. And you can also use this overlay, for example, if a customer wants you to search, for example, in the Bayview area for a property and you're not quite sure where Bayview is, when you turn it on, you go, oh, okay, there it is right there. You can put this overlay on, and then you can use one of the shape tools, which would be the Polygon, and trace right over the lines. That way you can easily kind of cheat, easy way to get it. Okay. Now you will see some of these neighborhood overlay areas as you get out into the suburban areas, but they're not as prevalent. They're kind of spread around. All right, I'll turn that off. That was the neighborhood maponics. Next, I'll show you the subdivision maponics. Okay, now this one is more prevalent in the suburban area, so you'll notice nothing really shows in Milwaukee, but as we move over into the Waukesha area, you see a lot of darkened squares. I'll zoom down. Again, the lower you go, the more detail you get. All right, and there are the labels for the subdivision. So if you have a customer that would like to live in a particular subdivision, turn that on for your area and see if it's populated. So here we've got the Rolling Meadows subdivision, Carriage Hill, Mount Pleasant, Sundown Heights. Okay. Again, this is not available for all areas, but it doesn't hurt to give it a try by clicking on it. All right, I'll turn that off. And then next, I will show you the zip code areas overlay. So when I turn that on, I'll zoom up a little bit. You'll see the zip code boundaries. There you go. All right. Okay, now the one overlay that I did skip over, the imagery parcels, that one has been built for satellite view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom down on an area here, so I'll show you how that'll work. Now, notice when you get lower, again, you get the lot lines and the parcel numbers. Now, if you prefer using satellite version, but if you're zoomed in that low, you don't get the same thing here. But you can by using the imagery parcels. That turns on those lot lines and parcel number tags for you. So if you have a preference of using the satellite map over the rendering of the map and you need to zoom down and see those lot lines with the parcel numbers, you want to turn on that imagery parcels. Okay? All right. I'm going to turn that off and I'm going to switch back to map. All right. Moving on down. This little dotted square that you see here with the pencil in it, that's your show hide search areas box. So if you close this box to get it out of your way with a little X here, and then you need it back, you just come down here and you left click on that dotted square and it brings that box back. So that's basically just showing and hiding that search areas box. Okay? Next, we have the red push pin. This is your locate address tool. So if you needed to locate an address, a specific address on the map, when you left click on that, it brings up the locate address box. You'd enter in that address to locate that address on the map, and that will give you the tool that includes doing your radius search. So we're going to come back to that. I'm going to close that. All right. Down here in your toolbar, you'll notice we've got 4 tools. We've got one that's already selected. That's your pan map. That's the default for this map. That's the tool that allows you to move the map around like you see me doing here. Okay? All right, I'm just going to zoom up a little bit. All right, next, the tool that you see here is your zoom in tool. Let's say you wanted to zoom quickly in on maybe this area, for example, right here. So instead of, you can either zoom down or you can use your zoom tool. So if you left click the tool, that turns it on. You see that shaded area around the tool. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my mouse in an intersecting corner. I'm pretending like I'm this square here, like I'm about to draw a box with a pencil. So I'm going to situate my mouse in that intersecting point. Now I'm going to left click and I'm holding down my mouse button and I'm just dragging it over the area that I want to zoom in on. Once I have that area covered by that shaded box, I let it go and I'm zoomed in. Okay? All right. Next, oops, and you see, if you don't turn it off, you always want to turn off any tool when you're done using either of these tools here. Always click on your gloved hand, otherwise the tool doesn't turn off and it kind of causes havoc a little bit. Alrighty, so now that we're zoomed down on an area, I'll show you our next tool. This is your parcel info tool. This will allow you to get parcel information on any lot that you click on, whether if it's been in Flex or not. So you left click the parcel info tool, you see it's turned on, it has the shading around it. Then you left click on the lot that you want. Notice it shades the lot. You will get the lot dimensions. Here, this listing has never been in Flex before, so there's no listing activity found. But you have a link to the tax key number. So if you click that, that will open up the tax record in a new tab, and you're able to see the information on that property. Okay, let me try to find a parcel that's been in the system before here so you can see what that looks like. Okay, here's one. So this one, this particular property here has been in Flex before a long time ago underneath this MLS number. It's sold on this date for this price. Again, there's your tax key number. If it had been in here a few more times, it will list each individual list number, MLS number that it's been under. And here you see that the previous MLS number, the one that existed before, is a link. If you left click on that, that'll open up the data sheet for that property if you wanted to take a peek at it. All right, and I'll close this tab so we go back to where we are. All right, and I'll just close the bubble, and I'm going to turn this tool off by clicking on the gloved hand. So that was your parcel info tool. Now I'm going to show you the last tool, which is the distance measure. I'm going to zoom up a little bit. The distance measure measures the distance between points. Let's say you forgot to write your mileage down, and you need to find out what your mileage was so you can record and get reimbursed for it. So we'll say that we left this address here. We left from 84th and Capitol, and we drove over to 53rd in Hampton. So to track mileage from there, we'll left click to turn on the distance measure tool. We'll come over here. You'll see that dot follow me, and we'll left click at 84th and Capitol. That's our starting point. All right, and we'll basically take the route that we drove. So once you get ready to make a turn, you left click. That ends that segment so you can start a new segment. So you see you've got a number for total, but your segment has been zeroed out because we just ended that first segment. So we'll go our next street, left click, and then now here we are at 53rd. Well, we'll stop it at 54 so I can see it. I'll just use my arrow keys. There we go. I just used the right arrow key because I ran out of room. There we go. All right, so now we're at 53rd in Hampton. So you can see our first segment was 1.55 miles. Our second segment was 1.01 miles. And then our last segment was under a mile, the 0.382. Our total trip mileage is 295. All right, so when you left click, it ends that segment, but it remains, gives you your total. All right, and then to turn that tool off, otherwise you'll have this following you around, you just click on your gloved hand. All right, the last set of icons that I'm going to show you down here are your arrows and your see all points on map. These back and forward arrows work similarly to your arrows in your browser. So if you click the back arrow, that'll take you to previous maps that you were at. So if it'll hold your history for as long as that you're in this tab. Okay? And then if I wanted to go back to the map that I just left from, I hit the forward, like that. And then the middle, see all points, looks kind of like a baseball diamond. When you left click on that, that takes you back to see all points home. All right. So that was a display of all the tools that we've got available on the map. Now I'm going to show you how to search on the map. So the first tool that I'm going to show you how to search on is using the locate address tool, and we're going to do a radius search by a specific address. This works wonderfully if you are doing a CMA and you need to do a radius search around your subject property. So we'll pretend kind of like that's what we're doing now. So I'm going to left click that red push pin to get my locate address box. Now I'm going to enter in the address that I want to search in radius from. Okay, so that's our office here, 11430 West North Avenue, City of Wauwatosa, State, Wisconsin, and we'll do WI. If you have a zip, you can enter that in there. You don't have to. Or if you brought up this locate address box and you wanted to hover over a general area by zip code, you can enter in just the zip code and it'll put you over the general area of that zip code. All right, now that I've entered in my subject address, I'm going to click locate. And here it locates that address on the map right there. All right, you'll notice that in that address bubble you have some links. If you decided that you didn't want the pin on the map, you have remove pin. The bird's eye link will give you a bird's eye view of the property using Bing Maps. So when I left click it, it'll open up in Bing Maps, and there's the property right there, so it's giving us an overhead view of the area. All right, I'm going to close this Bing Maps tab, go back to Flex. The Street View link will open you up into a new tab using Google Maps, giving you a street view of the property. So we're kind of facing the wrong direction here, so I'm going to spin us around. There we are. There's our address right there. That's our building. So it's basically giving you a general view, a street view of the area that property is around. This could come in handy if you are looking at a property and maybe your buyer doesn't want to be near commercial or rental properties. You can kind of scope out the area without wasting the gas to go out there. All right, and I'm just going to close this Google Maps tab. All right, last but not least is our radius search tool. This is the tool that you would use to search in radius from an address. So when I click radius search, it'll ask how many miles from this point would I like to search in radius from. The default is 1, but you can use any whole or fraction mile. So if you wanted to do 1.5 miles, that would be 1.5. If you wanted to do a quarter mile, that'd be 0.25, 3/4 of a mile, 0.75, and so on. And a mile is roughly 12 blocks. So let's say we wanted to do 1.5 miles. from this point. So I'll enter in 1.5 and then I'll click Create Radius. It puts the radius around the address. Now I'm going to zoom down a little bit here and show you. I'll use the plus sign. There we go. So you can see the circle here. This is our center point, and in every direction the system is searching 1.5 miles from our center point. And you'll see here, both in the search areas box and up at the results, I have 14 matches that fit my requirements that I entered in previously within this 1.5 mile. Now, if I was happy with that and I wanted to view those listings, I would come up to the upper right-hand side and click on View Results. Always remember, the full search map tab will not show you your listing pins. If you'd like to see the location of the listing pins, you have to view your results and view them out on the search results map tab. Okay? Now let's say you did this search and you're like, I need a little bit more than 14. I'd like to have more rather than less. So let's say you wanted to change the radius. In order to change the radius, you have to delete the existing radius search. And how you do that is you come here to the search areas box. You see the shape has 14 matches, and then you see this little red dot with a dash. That's removing that search area. When you single left click the red dot, the search area goes away. Now to redo your radius, you left click on the pin, radius search, and now you can do your new radius. Let's say we'll do 2 and click Create Radius. In this case, we get 24 matches. Okay, so that's our radius search from a specific address. Again, that's using the red push pin in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. All right. Now I'm going to show you how to use the shapes in the toolbox. I'm going to leave this shape here to demonstrate that you can search in many different areas at the same time. So if your customer says, well, I'd like to search in radius of this address, or if I can't get there, maybe I can be over in this pocket on this side of the city or another pocket on another side of the city. You can do multiple shapes on search areas on the same map if you wish. Okay? All right. Now, in this case, before you use any of the tools in the search box, you want to make sure the area that you want to draw your shape is clearly in your view. So let's say in this case, we're going to boogie on over to Bayview. So I'm just scooshing my map over, and I'll show you how to cheat using the Polygon. All right. So now I'm going to put that overlay because maybe I'm not familiar exactly what Bayview is or where it is. So I'm going to click Overlays and I'm going to select the neighborhood Maponics. All right, so there's Bayview. So let's say this area I wanted to include in my search. So I'm going to come over here to my toolbox and open it up by clicking on New Search Area. When I open it up, I'm going to select the tool that I want to use. In this case, I want to use the Polygon, so I'm going to single left click it. So I've got that white box around it telling me it's selected. Now I'm not touching my mouse buttons. I'm just coming on over here to my starting point. So I'm going to start right here. Now I'm ready to start to define my polygon. I'm going to single left click my mouse button one time. I am not holding down my mouse button. I just clicked it and I let it go. I am simply sliding my mouse out to my next point. Now I want to go in a different direction. Single left click, let it go. Sliding down to my next point. Single left click, let it go. Sliding over, left click, 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 and I'm just gonna stop it right here because there's no houses out in the lake. So now I'm ready to stop my shape. To stop it, I'm going to double left click. All right, so there's one match there. Remember to start your shape, single left click, do not hold down your mouse button, Left click anytime that you're changing directions or there's a rise or a fall or a dip of some sort in the side that you're drawing. To stop it, double left click. All right, so I've got one match in that polygon. All right, okay, I'm gonna turn my overlays off. So I'm gonna come to overlays and deselect the neighborhood Maponics. Okay, so next shape that I'm going to show you how to draw is the square. So I'm going to slide my map over and find a nice square area here. So let's say we want to search this square area that's right here. Lincoln to the north, Oklahoma to the south, 43rd Street to the east, and 60th Street to the west. Again, remember, before you define any shape that's in this search areas box, make sure that you can clearly see the streets, the borders that you want to capture. All right, so I see those lines. So now I'm ready to draw my square. I'll come over and open up my toolbox by clicking on New Search Area. I'll select my tool by left clicking on the shape that I want, and I see that it's selected by that white square around it. And now I'm going to move my mouse into an intersecting point. Pretend that you have a pencil and you're about to draw a square on a piece of paper, so you're going to start at a corner. So once I get my mouse hovered over a corner, I am now going to single left click, let the mouse button go. I am now pulling my mouse diagonally. I am not touching my mouse button. Don't touch it, hot potato. Once I get down to my diagonal border and my area is covered in that I want, to stop it, I'm going to double left click. All right, so there's my square area. I've got 3 matches within that area for a total of 28. All right, the last shape that I'm going to show you is the radius, which is the circle. Now this is very similar to the radius that we did, but we did it by a specific address. In this case, you would have to locate the landmark. Maybe your customer doesn't know the address, or maybe they say, well, I want it in radius of this park or this shopping center. Okay, so I see a park right here. So let's say we want to do it within a mile radius of Lions Park that we see here. All right, so now when you're doing the radius, you want that point that you're going to radiate out from in the center of your screen. We'll go into our toolbox and open it up by clicking on New Search Area. We'll left click our tool, in this case the circle. Again, I'm not touching my mouse buttons. I'm just sliding my mouse over. Once I have it in the center, I'm going to single left click and let it go. And now I'm going to pull until that mileage indicator tells me I'm at a mile. All right, now notice I'm running out of room. The system will not let me draw this shape any bigger than what the screen area will show you. This is where that trick with the arrow on your keyboard comes in. I am tapping that right arrow key. So the direction that you want to pull your shape, you tap that arrow key in the direction that you want to go. So I'm tapping my right arrow key until I can get out to that 1 mile. All right, there's my 1 mile as the indicator tells me right there. I want to stop it now, double left click. And I have 6 matches. All right, I'm just going to zoom up a little bit here. All right. Now you see my radius shape is overlapping my square. There's a tool here called intersection if you would like to search the listings just within overlapping areas like this. So if I put my check in intersection, it'll tell me if there's any matches in that intersecting point. I don't have any matches, okay? So I'm going to take that check out. All right, so now we have a total in all 4 shapes of 33 matches. If you wanted to delete any of these search areas, notice that's our first one. That was the one we did in radius by address. You would hit the red dot for the one that you want to remove. Okay, so this is the polygon, this is the square, and this was the last circle that we drew. Okay. So this is the full search map tab we just learned about. So now we're going to view those 33 listings. So we're going to come up here in the upper right hand side and click on View Results. This will take us to our second Need to Know module, which is the Search Results Map tab. The reason why we call it that, because it's the Map tab out on the search results screen. So when I click on that Map tab, now you can see the listing pins. Okay? Again, you have the same tools that you had on the Full Search Map tab. If you want to use your zoom bar, your pan arrows, you've got your buttons for map or satellite and the overlays. If you wanted to locate another address on the map, you can. You can also, if you prefer drawing your shapes out on the search results screen, maybe you prefer seeing the listing pins before you start drawing shapes, you can do that here. You would skip the map tab within Full Search and just view your results, come out here and then select the shape that you want to draw and do it the exact same way that we did on the Full Search map tab. You also have the distance measure, the parcel info, the zoom in, and then of course the default for the pan map. All the tools they work the same way as they did on Full Search Map tab. You've got one additional tool that's over down here in the corner. This is your color legend. So if you notice, we've got some different color pins on the map for the listing pins. So if you left click the color legend, it brings up letting you know that the green are active, the yellow are pending, and the blue are sold or closed. There's another way that you can look at these listing pins. I'm just scooting that over there. You've got your drop-down menu here. You can look at them by MLS. That means if you've done a combined Metro and WireX search, for example, in Jefferson County, that's a county that lies in between the Metro service area and the South Central service area. A lot of realtors are dual membership. Some are with Metro, some are with South Central. And you can distinguish them on the map by their MLS ownership. The next color legend option is looking at the listings by price. So if you left click on that, this will show you listings by price range. You'll see we're having a little bit of trouble there, but it's showing you that the lightest color listings are the least expensive listings, and as the listings go up in price, the colors get deeper. So on active and pending, it's using the current list price. On sold, it's using the sold price. And the next view is price per square foot. All right, again, on active and pending, it's calculating the price per square foot on the current list price, and on sold is calculating using the sold price. Again, the least expensive listings are the lightest color, and as it goes up, the colors get deeper. And then we'll just switch back to stats. So we're all blue, yellow, and green again, and then I'll just close this box. Now you see this star that's right here. The star means this listing that's currently highlighted yellow over on the left-hand side listing summary panel. So if you click on a different listing, the star changes position. Just so you know, it's letting you know that's the one that you currently have highlighted over in the left-hand side summary panel. Okay? If you'd like to get a bigger viewing area for your map, you can hide this listing summary panel by clicking this little arrow here. That'll hide that panel so your map spreads out. To bring it back, you can just click that long gray bar there that I just clicked. I'll show you that again. This is the hide, little arrow right there. And then this big long gray bar right here, it's got the little arrow. You left click it, that'll bring it back. Okay? If you zoom down, and let's say you look at a listing and you go, oh, this one, that's kind of close to the park, that one looks good, which one is that? If you left click on the listing pin itself, it'll bring up the listing bubble for that listing, letting you know that that's that address, and it will sort down to that listing over in the left-hand side listing summary panel. Okay? And you can do that with any of the listing pins that you see here. Okay, I'm just going to close that. All right. I am going to show you how to use the driving directions. Driving directions will allow you to map a route for listings. For example, let's say you wanted to take a customer on some showings. So you did a search, you pulled up your listings, and let's say these first 5 listings are the ones that we're going to choose to map our tour. So once you select those listings, you come over here, we're still in the map tab, and in the upper right hand side you see this link that says driving directions. You left click that. That will open you up to Google Maps, showing you the listings on the map. Now it's pulling them over in the order that they were in FlexMLS. So here is where you order them based upon how you want to route your tour. Okay, so let's say for instance you'll be starting off at your office, or maybe your customer, for example, lives in Northern Illinois and they need directions from their address coming into the city. So if you need to add a destination, that's what this little plus sign is for with this empty field. So I'm going to click my mouse in there and I'm going to enter in our office address. So let's say I'm going to start from our office on my tour and I want to add that address in there. So there it came up, 11430 West North Avenue in Wauwatosa. So I'll select it and it adds it to the map. Now since that's where I'm going to start from, I want that address to be first. Okay, so to move it first, I'm going to hold down my left mouse button on that red pin and I'm going to drag it into the first position and let it go. Okay, so you see my map change. Now, based upon what direction I want to travel in from my office, I'll start arranging the addresses that way. So let's say I want to go to the one on 116th, 2nd. So I'm going to make that one my second listing. All right, so North Avenue, 116th. Then let's say I want to go to 105th, 3rd. I'm going to drag that one into the 3rd position. All righty. All right, so once I'm finished here, I'm going to come on down here, and let's say I want 113th to be my 4th. It already is in the list, so we'll leave it there. All right, and so next, let's say KK Parkway. That one's already in the position that I'd like it to be, and then we'll end at South 58th Street. So here's your map. And the cool thing about this Google Maps here is letting me know that there's some construction currently going on. So if you see these little construction signs, you can hover over it and it'll let you know what's going on in the area. Okay? So once you have this map ordered the way that you want, you can now either print, email, or send directions to your iPhone or your Android device. How you do that now is we're going to click on the List All Steps link here. The screen will change a little bit, so you'll see your steps are over on the left and your maps on the right. To print it, we're still in Google. You've got the printer icon here. So when you click the printer icon, it gives you the option of printing the text including the maps, so that's the directions including the map that you see here, or just to print the text only if you don't need the map. Okay? The route options, if you want to avoid, if it applies to you, any highways, tolls, or ferries. All right? And to email this or to send it to your device, that's what this little fob is for. So when you left click on that, it opens up and it's share and embed map. You want to left click that so it gives you your options. So here's the link that you would email or send to yourself. So if you're sending this to a customer, I suggest using the short URL. So when you click that, it shortens up the URL. You just double click in that field where it highlights all blue. You right click and you copy, and then you can paste it into your email client and mail it to your customer. You can also send it to yourself so you can pick it up from your phone. There's a free Google Maps app that's available for iPhones and Android devices. When you open up this link, when you open the link from your device, it'll ask you what do you want to open it with. You open it with the Google Maps app, and that way it will do the driving directions for you with the navigation if your device is capable of that. All right, I'll just close that. So So that's mapping our tour using the driving directions tool. I'm just going to close out of Google Maps here. Okay, so we're back over to Flex. All right. So this is the search results screen map tab. So a lot of the tools that you see here are the same as the tools that are in the full search map tab, but you can define your search areas out here if you'd like to. So this is going to lead us into our third and last module, which is the Edit Search Map Search. So I'm going to zoom up a little bit here, and I'm going to hide my listing panel. So let's say we wanted to edit something about one of these shapes. Let's say you wanted to draw your circle a little bit smaller. You wanted to tighten up your radius. You can edit existing shapes. You don't have to delete them like you did on Full Search Map tab. So if you wanted to edit an existing shape, you would just single left click inside the shape and you get the Location Edit bubble. When you click Edit, it gives you its first edit option. You can give this shape a label if you'd like to. So if you wanted to call it radius from office, you can. And then you can give it a color to color code it. And this saves along with the search if you decide to save this search to your customer. All right, so that's the first edit option in the location edit. To edit the actual shape, you'll click here, Edit Shape. Now you'll get this warning saying using the map search tools will take you into the Edit Search tab, which is fine. Notice within the circle, you'll see these light orange bubbles. There's one in the center and there's one out here at the edge. Okay? The way you can move this shape, you can either move the entire circle using the bubble in the middle. So if I wanted to move the circle over the entire circle, I could, like that. If I wanted to make this bubble, this circle, bigger or smaller, that would be the bubble that's along the northeast border of the circle. So I'm holding down my left mouse button on that bubble and I'm dragging it in, and then I let it go once I get it the size that I want. Or if I wanted to make it bigger, I hold my left mouse button down on that and drag it out and make it bigger. Okay? How edit looks like on the square, and again, once you're done editing a shape, you'll see this yellow warning down here, and once you're done, you want to click Leave Edit Shape Mode. That makes those bubbles disappear. I'll show you what the editing of the square looks like. So I'm going to zoom down a little bit on that. So I'll left click inside the square, and I'll hit Edit on Location, and then I'll hit Edit Shape. In this case, you get a bubble on each corner in addition to the middle. Again, you can move the entire shape if you like I just did here. If you want to make the square bigger or smaller, you grab one of the corners, holding your left mouse button down. You can drag it in and let it go once you have it where you want to, or you can drag it out, make it a totally different shape, bigger square, whatever you want. All right. Once you're done, you click Leave Edit Shape Mode. Lastly, I'll show you how to edit the polygon, what that looks like. So we'll come over here. All right. We'll left click inside the polygon. We'll left click Edit on Location, and we'll left click Edit Shape. Here you notice there's a bubble at every place. Remember when I was doing all the left clicks, you get a bubble at every place that you left click. So let's say if I wanted to drag this corner out, I'm going to hold down my left mouse button and drag it out. Let's say they wanted to capture that little piece too. And we'll drag this in a little bit. Let's say they wanted to drag this out a little more. We can do that. So notice as you adjust the shape, it anticipates that adjustment and gives you bubbles in case that you need to pull that line over. Okay? Again, you're just holding down your left mouse button and dragging the bubble. Once you have your shape the way that you want it, you click Leave Edit Shape Mode. Okay, now you noticed earlier when a few minutes ago when I gave that radius here a color and a label, it changes it over here. So this also helps you to remember what the area was that you were searching for yourself. Okay, if you needed to get rid of any of the shapes here, when you highlight them over in the left-hand side panel, they highlight on the map so you know what you're getting rid of, because if you notice, they're all squares. They don't give you the shape like it did on the full search map tab. So that way you know if you needed to remove something, what exactly you were removing. If you needed to remove them, you left click the little X that's there, and they're all removed. Okay, the last thing that I'm going to show you how to do is how to exclude a map area. You can exclude any area on the map, just like you can include an area. Like you wanted to include this area that we see here. You can exclude a map area. For example, let's say your customer has you searching in Wauwatosa. They say anywhere in Tosa is fine except for that neighborhood stretch that's on the east and the west side of Highway 45. I don't want to be across the street from the expressway. So you can do that here. So I'm going to adjust my search over here. So we've got County of Milwaukee. I'm going to get rid of this shape. I'm going to turn it to simply active. And then here I'm going to add Wauwatosa in my search. So when I click here, it brings up my location box. Wauwatosa is not in there, so I'm just going to type Wauwatosa. All right, so I just type the first few letters and it pops it up over here, so I'll double click it. All right, so now we're searching Metro MLS, single family, Milwaukee, Wauwatosa, active. I'm going to take that sold date off because we're not searching solds. Okay, so now we're going to adjust our map and we're going to zoom down on that area that our customer does not want, which is the east and the west side of 45. So that's roughly between North Avenue and Center Street. All right, let me pull that in there a little bit. All right, so the area between Center Street and North Avenue, these neighborhoods that are immediately east and west of the expressway, your customer does not want you to pull any listings from there if they happen to be active. So what we're going to do first is we're going to define a shape over that area and then we're going to exclude it. So now that we've got that there, I'm going to come down here to the toolbar and I'm going to left click the shape that I want to draw. In this case, it's going to be the square. All right, again, I'm going to position my mouse in the starting point. I'm not touching my mouse buttons yet. When I'm ready, I'll single left click and let the mouse button go, move it out to my next border, which is east, and then I'm going to move it down south. All right, so now that I have the area covered that I don't want to search, to stop the shape, I will double left click it. All right, so this is the area my customer wants to exclude. So that was my first step, was drawing the actual shape. Now I'm going to come over here into the listing panel where it's got the shape, my rectangle. You see this button that says within? I'm going to left click it. It turns into intersection. Then I'm going to left click it again and say not within. So now this search is set to search Metro MLS, single family, County of Milwaukee, Municipality of Wauwatosa, active, 3 to 4 bedrooms, minimum 2.5 baths, minimum 2.5 garage, but not within that rectangle. Okay? So once you have that set, you view your results. You're back out here at the search results screen, and then you can go ahead and you can save the search to your customer. This will conclude our webinar for the map basics, which was the full search map tab, the search results screen map tab, and the edit search map search function. Remember that you can replay this webinar as many times as you want. If you need to pause it so you can write down notes or take in information, maybe you're playing it on your tablet and you're doing the exercises on your computer, that's an awesome combination, just to pause it and then go ahead. You can play it over and over. Remember, we're open 24/7. Thank you very much.